Well, hello there, and welcome to the Poetry of Healing show. I am so happy that you are joining us today. And as always, I have a very, very special topic today, very important topic about how to recover from losing a spouse. And so a few weeks ago, I had a guest, Walter, and he shared his experience of suddenly losing the light of his life. And we ended the show with a little teaser that he was going to come back and talk to us about how life is now. And so Walter's here, and so is his special guest as well. So, as we always do to start this time, we're going to do a little centering. It'll take about 60 seconds or so. And it's really, during this month of love, it's really a time to prepare our hearts for this love story. So I invite you, those of you who have been with me before, you're familiar with heart math. If you're just tuning in for the first time, it's very easy. I'll guide you through it. And I'm going to invite you to lower your gaze or close your eyes so you can focus and kind of mute anything that's going on around you or anything you brought to the show with you today, because I really encourage you to just embrace and be in this environment where we're talking about creating and just being surrounded by love. So it's called heart math, heart focused breathing. And we use our breath. I'll show you how to breathe. And then we use our heart to center us and bring us to a place of ease and relaxation. So let's take a breath in through your nose, slowly, and then out through your mouth like you're blowing out a candle. One more time, in through your nose, deep, 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 and then out through your mouth. Beautiful. Now, this time when you take a breath in, I want you to focus in your left side of your chest where your heart is, and imagine when you're taking the breath in, your heart is expanding. And then it's getting bigger. And then when you take a breath out, it's contracting. Let's try it again. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose and watch your heart get so big. It may even light up. And then take a breath out and watch your heart, your chest contract. Then one more heart breath. Take a deep breath in and your heart gets bigger and bigger and it lights up and it sends just warmth through your whole body. And then blow out and your heart is contracting. And so I want you to just take time to just sense what's going on in your immediate space. It may be a room, you may be in a computer cafe, you may be sitting outside enjoying the show. Just take a sense. Your eyes are still closed. What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you smell? Okay. And then lastly, I'm going to have you take a deep breath in, just a normal breath, and then out through your mouth as you enter this space. So for those of you viewers who are just joining us, this show is all about finding love, and it's with our previous guest, Walter. And I'm not going to wait any longer. I'm going to bring Walter in, and let me just, Walter, I'm bringing you in, Walter.
All righty. Hello.
Okay, here you go. How are you? How are you?
I'm doing just great. Yourself?
I'm great. Well, the last time you were here, I'm going to put up the thumbnails so viewers might remember. So the last time you were here a few weeks ago, we talked about healing from the heartbreak of losing your wife suddenly. And so I'm also going to add here. So for those of you who were not able to view the show, or you want to share it with someone, you can scan the QR code and it'll take you right to the show, or you can just take a picture and keep the link so that you can watch it later. So I'm gonna put this up again during the show, but just so that you'll have a sense. And we're gonna catch up a little bit, so you'll be fine not having watched part one before we get into it. So Walter, I'm so glad that you agree with that, because the story, I'll tell you, the story touched so many hearts, and your segment had 4,500 plus views and almost 5,000 views. So it really, tells us that there's a great interest in this topic of being a widower. But the last time we talked about loss, this time we're going to focus on love. And you've walked a very powerful journey, and we left off at a turning point, and we're going to get into that. But before we get into that, I'd like to introduce someone who has had the same experience. So let's bring Maxine in. I'm going to bring Maxine in. Maxine, I'm bringing you in. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Welcome, Maxine.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Well, I am so glad that you two agreed to come as well, because you have a similar story of losing a spouse. And so just share a little bit about your story, I'm going to ask you to just share what you would like about your journey of becoming a widow.
Well, I had a very long marriage. I was married 58 years, and I got married very young. I was a teenage bride. And so I sort of grew up with my husband. And over the years, we experienced a lot of the normal marriage things, as ups and downs as people go through in and out of love, all of those things that people do over a long period of being together. And it was the fact that he became ill late in life. He had been healthy. Both of us had experienced great health throughout our marriage, and never any catastrophic situations or illnesses, any of that. And then in the 57th year is when he became ill. And he had, turns out that he had idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, which is scarring of the lungs. It impacted his breathing. And then as time went on, we found out that he had bladder cancer. So there's sort of one thing after another that came up. And so he was in and out of the hospital for just about over 8 to 10 months. Mm-hmm. And so obviously I had a period of grieving prior to his loss, because I had the loss of intimacy, the loss of his vitality, all of that. I'm watching him sort of deteriorate right before my eyes. He was a big man. He was 220 pounds, 6'3" guy. So he was big. And he went down from 220 pounds down to 100 and something. So that just gives you an idea of how much weight he lost, how his health deteriorated over time. And having to witness that after having been with someone who's so vital, so, he was so robust, and just really into life, interested in everything, always wanted to be on the leading edge of technology. Any new thing came out, he wanted to be a part of it. So it was difficult for me to see him lose that interest in living and to lose that vitality that he experienced for so many years. So I had my situation is different from Walter's in that, for him, it was a sudden loss. In my situation, it was a gradual over time. And I witnessed him, sort of losing the will to live, losing his vitality. So that was really pretty difficult. And I think that the grieving process, again, started for me before he actually died.
Yeah. Well, Maxine, thank you so much for sharing your journey. And I can assure you that there are many viewers that are listening to your story, and it's their story as well. And I just encourage you viewers, if this is your story or you know someone whose story is like that, as Maxine explained, that you stay and you listen to their journey, because it does evolve to something very, very beautiful. But again, thank you, Maxine, for sharing that. And the other thing I didn't say, I usually have our guests introduce themselves, but we're just so familiar. We're here having a conversation, but I have known Walter and Maxine, Walter longer, but Maxine for a few years now, and I knew both of their spouses. And so we're talking about incredibly beautiful, caring, loving spouses that were bigger than life. Your husband, Maxine, was truly really bigger than life. And and Walter's wife, though very quiet, she was also bigger than life. She lit up any room she entered. So you were both blessed with incredibly wonderful partners. So thank you. So what I'd like to do, I made some questions just to get the conversation started. And so viewers, if you're just dropping in, I have today two special guests, Walter, who's a widower, and Maxine, who is a widow. And they're here today to talk about life after losing a spouse. So I encourage you to stay with us. And so I'm going to begin, Walter, I'm going to unmute you. And I know both of you just go with the flow. So let me unmute Walter as well. The first question I have is for both of you. After experiencing such a deep loss, did you ever think love would find you again?
You want to go first, Walter?
Go first, sweetheart.
Okay. Well, in my case, I did not. I really did not. I just assumed that I would, I didn't think that I couldn't live without my husband. I knew that I could live without him. However, I didn't think that I would experience love and happiness in the way that I did as I was married to him. So I really assumed that what I would do, I have a very interesting family. They live in different parts of the world. And so I assume that I just spend time with my family. I have grandchildren that I assume that I just spend time with them. And that would be, and my church and whatever other interests that I might have, with just hanging out with friends. That's what I expected my life to be like, that I just kind of go on and live and enjoy as much as I could. And that part of me, the romantic side of me, the part that gets excited when someone walked into the room, I thought that would be over. That was done. That was my opinion. That's what I thought. So turns out that God thought something different. So.
And he laughs at our plans. That's
Yes.
an adage. We have plans. He just laughs at it. Well, thank you so much, Maxine.
Well, I would just have to say that I was not. I was looking for someone, but I didn't think that I could really care for someone, because I had some certain standards that I wanted that I felt that they should meet. And I was not rushing. It was over 2 years before I actually decided that this is where I needed to go. And there were a lot of people out there talking. Since I have only one good ear, I always would put them on the side that I couldn't hear on. So that worked out well. But I really never thought that I could love again and still have the same love for my deceased spouse. And that's when, as Maxine stated, the Lord had another plan. Because as long as the two of us have known each other, I never thought that the two of us would be calling ourselves one. And I tell you, it has been since June the 4th, 2024. It has been.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. I know you're excited about it, but I want to go back to all that talking in your ear because it's real. You know, you lose your spouse, and it's like you're how can I say you know, you're sought after. So there were a lot of casseroles and pound cakes and fried chicken and soup and all those things. And I said, Walter, don't touch it.
Well, I just felt that number one, the casseroles, they all look good, the cakes and the chicken look well, but I think that during that period, it's a very emotional time. And one needs to be extremely cautious about what the emotions are doing. Don't let the emotions take over really what your thoughts should be. You really need time to think about what you're going to do in this new norm that you've been given. So I just wanted to make sure that any decision that I made, I want to make a decision that I could be with someone that we had the same interests. But number one, that we care for one another. And that was really important to me because I think that our hearts are something that's very, very delicate. And one has to be cautious about who they allow to enter that space. Because sometimes that space can be really damaged. And if you're already dealing with hurt of the grief itself, you don't need to add to it with a decision that was made without any thought.
Good point. Good point. And Maxine also brought up the thought that making that when you find love again, it's not that you're removing your former spouse. You're just making room in your heart for the new love. And so my question to you is, what helped you to begin to open your heart to the possibility of love again?
In my case, I think that, because Walter is someone that I've known for a long time. And as you mentioned that you knew his wife, and I did as well. In fact, I'm wearing a piece of her jewelry today. I'm wearing a necklace that Gaynell used to wear. So I'm wearing a piece of her jewelry. That's because I knew her, and I knew that what a wonderful person she was, and knowing Walter and seeing how he cared for her over the years, and the way he treated her, the way she treated him. So I knew that I was in the presence of a good man and a caring man. So that part was okay with me. However, I had to get to know him in a different way. I knew him as her husband, and I knew him as a colleague at work. We worked together for a while. So that's how I knew him. But then I had to come to the conclusion that I need to get to know him in a different way. And so basically, I think in my mind, and I guess in my heart, I just sort of surrendered to the fact that I was going to allow him into my life. And the fact that I had seen him in action, I knew who he was. I didn't think that he would do anything foolish, that he would hurt me. So I decided that I would allow him into my heart as well. And so that was really I didn't want to meet anybody new. So that was the other thing. I didn't want anybody saying to me, oh, I have someone I want to introduce you to. I think they're this or that. And I just didn't want to go through that whole craziness of vetting and all that stuff and having someone tell me about someone and then I'd meet him and be disappointed. So I stayed out of that whole craziness. I didn't do any of that. And but I already knew him. So I just had to get to know him in a different way. And it was just like peeling back an onion. There were layers that I didn't know existed with him. So I got to know him, in a different way. The idea of a romance with someone that I'd known for so long, and I thought, wow, this is different. And so it's just kind of gradually we got to learn more about each other, and we got to be close to each other, in ways that I had not ever expected. So it's been a romantic journey, in my opinion. And I didn't think that I'd have that feeling of excitement again about a man. I just assumed that I've actually thought of Walter as someone who I'd maybe asked to take me to a play or to be an escort for me, because I knew he was a good man and I could trust him. So I assumed that would be our relationship. But then it turns out that it got to be a whole lot more than that. And that's the part that was surprising and pleasantly surprising. So it's now when he walks into a room, my heart quickens. When I see his face, I get a little excited, and to have that kind of that adrenaline rush when I'm around him, that is something that I never thought would happen again, because that was what it was for me as married to my husband for years. I mean, when he entered a room, I would always feel a little excitement, and it's the same thing now. I'm getting that rush when I see his face and when he's around me. So, and that's the part that is so exciting at this age. To have that kind of excitement is just incredible.
Well, Maxine, you just opened the floodgates. So I am gonna, and I knew it would happen. So I want, because we haven't officially said it, but I'm going to unmute Walter. And Walter, will you make the announcement about you two, please?
As she stated, we did not know one another in the sense that we know one another now. We knew each other from a professional standpoint. As she stated, we knew each other's spouses. One of the things that I thought, in fact, is that we were interacting and we were both proud to wear our wedding rings, still wearing our wedding rings. And we're able to talk about our mates to one another, that is no jealousy or no hang-ups there. So that, I think, is very important. I think that even drew us even closer together. But I have to say that because she was in banking and I was on this board, we had some funds that needed some attention as well as, for investment. I just decided to give her a call, and because I knew Arnold was probably bugging her to death about getting deposits. So I said,
Arnold is my husband.
Yeah. So I said, so I told our treasurer, I said, well, look, I know this lady, give her a call and she may be able to give us some rates that would be attractive. So they got together and they talked and everything. And sure enough, it worked out where she was able to, give the board what was needed as far as the investment. And so because of the type of person she is, she decided to invite me to lunch and to thank me. So she invited me to lunch. I met her at this place. Nice, I was spot of garbage. But we met there and we had a nice lunch, but I was parked away from quite away from the restaurant. So she decided, she said, well, I'll give you a ride to your car. So I said, well, fine. I didn't feel like getting my steps in that day. So I decided I would take that offer right into the car. So she took me to my car. But before I got out, I said, I'm just going to show a little thing. So I decided to reach over to give her a little peck on the jaw, thanking her for doing it. But she brought the jaw to me. I said, this may be something. All right. Then the next time she called me, she said, well, after church, would you like to join me for brunch up at Sequoia Country Club? I say, well, sure. Well, I thought that was good because then I wouldn't have to worry about preparing a meal. So I thought that was good as well. So we met up there. And then I said, this lady's been very nice. She's invited me out to dinner and to lunch as well as to dinner. I said, well, I'm going to invite her over to my house for dinner. So I prepared a nice meal with candlelight and all the above and trying to, set a nice atmosphere, but nothing to where it was just going to be just a dinner and a thank you. Well, I talked to myself. I said, am I going to kiss this lady? I was putting my nerves up to kiss this lady. So Some people say, well, what do you have to lose? The worst thing you can happen is that she can slap you and walk out the door, okay? So I got me a good kiss, and that was kind of like the start of things, okay?
Okay, we this is a PG show, so I'm gonna cut you off here. But I am on a serious note. I just want to say that viewers, if you have just joined us, we are talking to Walter, who is a widower, and Maxine, who is a widow. And we were just describing how the two of them came together in a romantic relationship after knowing each other professionally in the banking system for over 30 years, I think, that you guys knew each other. Is it 30 years or is it longer? Yeah, it was 30 years. And there's so much that came out of both of your stories, but I do want to say that viewers, if you heard the story, Maxine was the inviter. Okay, so she invited twice. So it's okay. It's okay to step up. You see what you are attracted to, and just gently make that invitation. And you can sense, because Walter had it in his head anyway, but sometimes we have to give our men a little nudge. And so she gave a little cheek, right? And it just gave him the green light to invite her over. And Walter's a great cook. Maxine's a great cook. So all this is all good. And Walter, I have to hand it to you. You set it up. You had candles, and you had China, and you had everything going on. So what I do want to do, because I'm going to make a little switch here, but Walter Maxine has shared what drew her to you. So I'm going to ask you, what was it about Maxine that made you stop and take notice and pursue?
Well, I always look for the you have the woman, the girl, the female, but I always look for the lady in a lady. And what I really like the fact is that she always conducted herself in a she was always professional, but I'm talking about from a lady. I love the way she dressed. I love the way she looked. I loved her heart. I would hear her talk about her family. I would hear her talk about things that she was involved with. And she was doing all that from the heart. And I say, God looks at our heart. And so I say, I feel that I could trust her with my heart, to whereby it would be handled gently and carefully, and there was no hurt there for me. So that's what kind of I watched how she invited me to lunch and all that. It was not a big casserole. It was not big. If I didn't go, it's like, that's cool. But it was presented in such a way to where I felt comfortable with it. I did not feel that she was hitting on me or trying to lure me in. I just felt that she was just showing her, that she was thankful for what I had done with introducing to our treasure. But I felt the good vibes, okay? And so, like I say, we just kind of like looked at each other and so now we both excite each other.
Well, and Walter, you bring up some really critical points here, and that is she didn't push. She didn't, she wasn't too much. She wasn't overbearing. She came from a place of being authentic. And but I did say when you two told me the story, I said, Maxine, okay, you invited him out for lunch twice or out for a meal twice. Couldn't you just have picked up the phone and thanked him? But she had another plan. But what I want to do, because you've said so much, I want to share. Let's see if I can do this. So again, Walter's full story, you can see it here. Either scan the QR code or take a picture and go to that site, and you can see his full story in part one. So what I want to do, let me see if I can do this. Okay, so separately, you two had a beautiful life. So I'm going to show you some pictures, and if you can just give us a footnote of what, where, and what time this was for you. So Walter?
I think this was a time when I was getting dressed, and I don't know who took that picture. But anyway, I was headed out, and Maxine and I was going out that night, but that was before I left home. And someone said, "Well, let's take your picture out." Maybe my son or somebody. But that was one of the times we were going out.
Okay.
And but now that was I was up in Eugene, Oregon with my daughter. She was actually my stepdaughter, but I don't like the word step, but she's my daughter. So we were really at her dad's birthday party. But that was the beginning. But Maxine and I, we were talking in together then. But there again, that was just a time that I was out doing up in Eugene, Oregon.
So I'm just building the story of you had separate lives before you came together, and I'm just showing. So Maxine.
Okay, that picture of me, I was in South Carolina at a reunion, a high school reunion, and I guess that was it was in May of last year, and no, it wasn't May, it was July. I'm sorry, July of last year. And Walter and I had started talking to each other and showing interest, and that was and that was a picture that I sent to him.
Okay, so Maxine, before I show the next picture, will you tell our viewers how old you are? You said you were okay with that.
Yeah, I am. Currently, I'm 79 years old.
Okay, so look at this.
Yeah, that was a picture from at my 50th anniversary with my husband. That was taken in 2014. I was probably 70 years old at that time.
But Maxine, I think you have frozen in time. You're ageless because you still look like this. You are just absolutely gorgeous. So
thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm going to go into some pictures of the both of you, and either one of you can share. Okay.
That was our first date.
Yeah.
That was over at States.
Okay.
Yes, States.
Okay. So, Walter, I'm going to ask Maxine to take over the narration because of the sound. Okay. All right. Okay. And when you want to pipe in, just raise your hand and give me the signal. Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, okay. We were invited to a birthday party. This was probably the first time that we actually went out together. We went to a birthday celebration for a young lady, and as you can see the background, it was near the water. It was in Alameda, right there on the water, and that was actually the first time that we had gone out together, so that people knew that we were seeing each other. That was kind of like our debut to the public.
Well, since you're bringing that up, I'm gonna bring Walter back because I have a question. And how did your family and friends respond to this union? So I'm going to go first because Maxine had been telling my husband and I, and my husband has known Walter since their kids were in elementary school, and now they're children in their 40s and 50s. So and they've known each other a long time, and he's known Maxine for quite a long time. Anyway, they invited us to dinner. Maxine did, to meet her new friend, but she didn't tell us who her new friend is. And they came separately to where we were having dinner. And so Maxine was there and we were chatting. I said, Maxine, where's your friend? What's happening? And then her friend came in and I almost stopped breathing. You guys can explain it better. But I'll tell you, my reaction was so strong and so happy. I was speechless because I know these two beautiful individuals, and to have them after their losses come together in the way they did, I was just speechless. Do you want to say anything about my reaction?
Yeah, it was surprising to me that you were so surprised. But Arnold kind of said he felt that it was Walter. Arnold thinks that he felt like he knew who it was. But the thing that's been so wonderful to me is that just friends in general, anytime that we're seen out together, and people that know both of us always come up to us and say, "Oh my God, I'm so glad to see the two of you together. I'm so happy for the two of you because both of you are great people, and I'm just happy that you're together." And then when Walter went to South Carolina with me to meet my family, they really immediately embraced him. They just could sense what a good guy he is. And they were so happy to see the two of us together, and the way he interacted with me and the way I was around him. They could see that I was happy again. And they were just so pleased. And now it's like, Walter's as a part of the family. So it's just been an amazing, amazing reception on both sides, actually, because his daughter, who is really his late wife's daughter, she came to visit us in South Carolina, and we stayed at my house. And so now, she has embraced our relationship as well. So it just means so much to me that so many people are happy that we are together and that we are enhancing each other's lives.
Let me get very more. Go ahead, Walter. Mm-hmm.
I have to say too that on my family, we had a dinner here, and my nieces started calling Maxine Aunt Maxine. So it's all bonded very well, on both sides.
It's just beautiful, beautiful. Yes, and I think the groundswell, at least for me, the groundswell of emotion was that the both of you are such great people, and to have you find each other was just overwhelmed. I was just overwhelmed with joy. So let's just go through some of you together. Yeah.
Okay, that was at Sequoia Country Club. I think that photo might have been taken by you, Paulina.
Oh, okay. All right. See, I can't keep up. You guys are world travelers. I just can't. I did take that picture.
Yeah.
That was the night of the dinner.
Right. That's when I revealed to you who my new love was.
Yes. And what about this?
This is at my niece's wedding in South Carolina. We were at a beautiful venue near Greenville, South Carolina. It's a boutique hotel that kind of sits in the woods, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And Walter and I were there for the wedding.
Was that the first time he met your family?
No, that was the second time that we were together as a family. Mm-hmm. That one is when we were at a 4th of July celebration at Sequoia Country Club. We were sitting outside, and I think that one of my friends, or one of my friends, took the photo of us together, sitting outside in the sun at Sequoia for the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm. And the next picture is my favorite all-time picture of the both of you.
That was at Christmas time. Actually, it was New Year's Eve that we took that picture.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's our New Year's Eve picture.
What a way to start! What a way to start the new year.
Yeah.
So let me just see. Another question I have for you is, how do you honor your late spouses while embracing your new love?
Well, in my case, I think that just remembering him, that's just remembering him, speaking fondly of him. And there's so many things, and Walter and I laugh about this all the time. There are things that I do that reminds him of his wife, and there are things that he does that reminds me of my husband. So whenever those things happen, we laugh and talk about it, because I'm thinking, oh my God, look like, are you channeling him? And it's the same thing that he says about me and his wife. So the way that we honor them is by never forgetting them. We talk about them and in loving ways, and also in the ways that the quirky ways that they had about certain things that we both display. And so it's just, that is the way by keeping them in our hearts, we just don't forget them, and we talk about them often.
And, Maxine, I'm glad you're sharing that, because there may be someone listening that feels, if I fall in love again, then I have, put away the pictures and never mention my spouse's name again. And you're showing us that it is part of the new relationship,
Yes,
so,
it is. Yeah, you can't. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead, Maxine.
No, I was just going to say that you can't really, I mean, I can't erase 58 years of my life. Walter can't erase the years that he and his wife were together. And we still have pictures of each other. I have lots of photos of my husband and me together. He has the same thing with his wife. And then we have photos of ourselves, the two of us together. So it's like we're really just kind of continuing the history. And I think that people who truly do love and really love, I love the romance that we have. And I like the romance that I have with my husband. So people who truly do enjoy romance and love, you don't ever want to erase any part of that, because there's nothing bad about any of it. And to bring it into this relationship, it just, to me, it enhances what we already feel. We've got the heart to love and the heart to want to share and to be together. And it has just transferred into this relationship between the two of us. We just sort of brought all of that in with us. And I know that my husband would want me to be happy. And I think that Walter's wife would want him to be happy. And I think that the fact that we are showing each other the caring that we show, and just even the romance of it, I think that I believe that they're somewhere smiling and saying, okay, go for it, you guys. I guess that's sort of wishful thinking, but it is, I believe that, just because based on the fact that the two of them, knowing each of them the way I did, they were about people loving and being happy. So I think that that's how they'd see it.
Well, Maxine, and I just am so thrilled and overjoyed that you're being so transparent. And you're saying that people in their 70s, and you're almost 80, have an 80th birthday this year.
This year.
Even though you found the fountain of youth. So let's just be clear about that. That you can have a rich, loving, romantic relationship, even at this golden stage in life. Yeah. So, Walter, what would you like to
I would just like to add that from a spiritual perspective, when we say, I felt that I just say, well, look, I can't have anybody else. I can love no one else. Gaynell was all I had. But at that point, I had put her above my God. I can't do that. We should never do that, I don't think. I think that because God said he's jealous. And so there should be no other person of God before him. So with that being said, I think what Maxine and I have done, we have recognized the fact that we both still love our mates. But God has given us a continuous life. And the way that we deal with that, our continuous life, we can still show there's still love within us that can still be shared. And we have not forgotten our mates. So, we still, one can do that, but you got to put yourself in the frame of mind for it. You can sit and have a pity party, I think, and say, I can't move forward. I can't live forward. Da, 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 da. Well, all that, Maxine and I both had that. But we also had enough space in our minds for thinking about, yes, we can move forward in life because we're still here. And so by still being here, we should be happy. In these golden years, happiness is really important. And so the only way you're going to have that importance is that, first of all, you be thankful for God to give you the breath of life to see that day. And what we do with that day is really up to us. So we decided to use our day. Let me just can I share one other thing?
Sure.
You showed that picture of New Year's Eve. I have been telling Maxine, I said, babe, I say, I'm going to get an ear piercing. She said, no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. No, not going to do that. So the next day, we celebrated my birthday, which was January 2nd. And she comes out of the room with this little package, little box, and I open it up and here 2 diamond-studded earrings. She said, I'm calling your bluff. So I said, okay, no problem. I said, tomorrow, you, Regina, and I will go and find an ear piercing place, whatever, and I'm going to get it done. I said, but there's a little caveat here. I said, I'm not going to wear 2 diamond earrings. I'm not going to do that. I said, but what I will do, I will get one and I will put it in my left ear. I said, so the extra one, you're going to have to put it in your left ear. And with the fact that I know you already have in your left ear, but then there will be a third one. I said, now, a lot of times people they give friendship rings, friendship bracelets, and all that. I said, but these diamond studs will represent our commitment to one another. And so I have my earring, and she has an earring, and other. So she really called my bluff on that. But I had been talking about that for some time. So but I couldn't do 2. So that's what we did.
Well, I'm here to say, viewers, that I can co-sign this because I've seen the pierced earring in Walter's ear, and he said, "Oh, it didn't hurt." I mean, and so yeah, that's what love does, just makes you oblivious.
Yes.
Okay, so I have one last question for you, and that is, what would you say to someone who's afraid to love again after the loss of their spouse?
Well, I would say, as I mentioned earlier, that you have to surrender. You really do. And that surrender doesn't just come surrendering to the other person, but it surrenders to your heart, to your God, really. It's the God in you allows you to express yourself and just kind of relax and open your heart. Because it's, as Walter mentioned, we are still here. We were left behind, and we're here, and we have to live our lives. And to surrender to life, surrender to love, just to kind of, and you obviously have to be cautious of who you are allowing into your life. Pay attention to whoever it is that you happen to meet, and watch how they interact with other people. Watch how they treat other people. And when you see that you found someone who the values are similar to yours, then just let it go and open your heart and allow them in.
Thank you, Maxine. And Walter, what would you like to add?
Well, I say ditto to everything. It's all about being able to trust the person, and trust the person is really what I prayed for. I prayed for good mates. I prayed for, and I trust God that He was going to deliver that. So He's done it again.
What a blessing! All I can say to both of you is, you make love look so easy and so good and so accessible. And I just thank you for just being so transparent for our viewers, because in this age group, there are, interestingly enough, there are more women who are widowed than there are men But as Walter talked about in his first segment with me a few weeks ago, that we don't hear about widowers, we don't hear about men. And so it was really important, I felt, during this month of love to honor your stories, profiling, of course, or not profiling, but being Walter being the center of this story, because we don't hear men's story that much. So I thank you for your courage. I thank you for your generosity in sharing with our viewers today. And of course, I just wish you all that this love grows, enhances, and just be a model for older person in the golden years. And I'm in the same generation as you, so I'm not calling you old. I'm just calling you golden.
It's a blessing to get old.
It truly is. And it was a joy to have you both. And I just thank you. So I'm going to say goodbye to you now and then close the show. But blessings to you. And I love you both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Okay, let me. Okay, so during this month of love, we have had this beautiful couple coming together unexpectedly after the loss of their spouses, and they're in their golden years. And if you missed this live run of the show, please review the recorded version of the show, which is available on the platform. And you know, Maxine and Walter's story reminds us that after loss comes love, or love can come, and that healing makes a way for new beginnings. And so the benefit of coming together and being connected in some way, especially after the loss of the spouse, is that, you know, being connected and feeling that you belong is a human need. And so, you know, research has shown, and you know I love research, research has shown that having loving, caring relationships can combat loneliness that is most probable to happen after you lose a spouse. And it helps you to live longer, lowers your stress level, and can improve your mental health. So before we close, I want to share with you from my book, you know, Regala Healing, a poem. I had marked several, but after this discussion, one just stands out that should be read. And it's a short one. And if you have my book, it's on page 5. And it's titled The Heart Will. And this is the first healing poem that came to me as I too was going through my healing journey. And so it goes like this. The heart will, even if I won't. The heart will, even if I don't. The heart will, even if I can't. The heart will love, guide, nourish every time I need to flourish. So viewers, remember that the heart can be your navigator through life, through life's challenges, through life's ups as well. And so I ask you to rely on your heart. We did a heart exercise to open the show. Go back and look at it and help. It can help you to open that beautiful heart of yours. So I ask you, I'm here every first and third Sunday right here on blackdoctor.org. And until I see you again, I wish you love, light, and all that is wonderful in this world. And I'm going to show you a couple of resources how to get my book.